Welcome back to The Top Shelf, my Criterion Blu-ray review series. This is episode 73. I'll take a look at 3 new discs that I just purchased. One leads into the next, and then that one leads into the third. And there's like these connections that I made between the 3, which leads to each other. So there's 3 new episodes coming, including this one. I'm glad you're here as I take a look at these films. My name is Ernest Whiteman III. I'm a Northern Rockwell filmmaker, artist, writer, and media educator. And we're taking a look at the top shelf of my video collection, which includes my Blu-ray collection and my Criterion collection. And today's episode, I alluded to in the last video. And typically I present the disc, I give a synopsis, a brief synopsis, look at the supplements and extras, then I give you a reason why I purchased the disc. But with this film, I've already said everything I wanted to say in the last episode, because this is a redo film, a redo video. So I thought with this one I'd do something just a little bit different. I'm going to break out the glasses a little bit early today. Please excuse the noise. That's just the noise of life happening outside the window, which sort of fits in with the theme of this video or this film. So here we go. When the child was a child, it walked with its arms swinging. It wanted the stream to be a river, the river a torrent, and this puddle to be the sea. When the child was a child, it didn't know it was a child. Everything was full of life, and all of life was one. When the child was a child, it had no opinion about anything, no habits. It often sat cross-legged, took off running, had a cowlick in its hair, and it didn't make faces when photographed. When the child was a child, it was a time of these questions. Why am I me and not you? Why am I here and not there? When did time begin and where does space end? Isn't life under the sun just a dream? Isn't what I see and hear and smell just the illusion of the world in front of the world? Does evil actually exist and people who are really evil? How can it be that this me that I am wasn't me before I existed? That someday this me that I am will no longer be me. Today's top shelf video is Wings of Desire by Wim Wenders. The story of 2 guardian angels over in the skies over Berlin, observing daily life and all its detail, and all its foible and all its grandeur. One desires to be human, to fall to that state of grace as he falls in love with a woman who can fly, a trapeze artist, and his partner, angel, who just stands by and watches it and continues because he believes in the mission. This is probably one of the first foreign films I've seen in my life. I know that when I moved to Chicago, I did have a VHS copy of this film that I brought with me. So even on the wilds of the Winter Indian Reservation, I saw this story of guardian angels. And it's sad to me now that Bruno Ganz, Otto Sander, Solvieg Dommartin, Bois, and Peter Falk are all passed. I guess the skies needed more angels. And Wim Wenders' eye is as cute as ever in this. It was his love letter to the city of Berlin before the walls came down. And the great story behind this creation of this movie is that he shot the entire thing without a shooting script. He did have a treatment about 2 guardian angels watching over the city, and he gave it to his friend, a writer named Peter Handke, who didn't provide him with a script. Instead, he provided him with the tone poems of which I just read. And that sort of like populated the film with these monologues that happen as they shot this film in order, moving from the black and white, the powdery silver of the black and whites, the great Henri Lacan's cinematography, as they moved into the color portions, is when he takes on the attributes of being human, where everything comes into full color. He understands everything now. And the great scene, the great moment that I think in cinema history is when he finally tastes his own blood and realizes it has a taste, that there's something beyond just the observed that he can experience. And it sits at number 7 on my top 10 greatest films, our favorite films of all time. I hope you can watch this over and over again and still get the rich details that I've seen. It is a great film about the idea of observation, the seeing of the minute, of seeing the unseen, that, you know, we don't think about the lives of other people when we're thinking about our own lives in this day-to-day society. So, Wings of Desire, this is the Blu-ray that I was able to get. Finally, as I said before, I'm rebuilding my top 10 favorite films in Blu-ray now that I have a machine. And it never hurts to have physical media when the Wi-Fi's fail. And that's it. Take a look at the extras, super quick. High definition digital transfer supervised by director Wim Wenders. Remaster of the audio commentary with Wenders and Peter Falk. Angels Among Us, a 2003 documentary, which I do recommend, even though it does include Brad Sieberling, who's the director of the awful City of Angels. Even if you're a Nick Cage fan, do not see City of Angels. I've said that before. And it pretty much has the same as the Blu or the DVD edition. Wim Wenders, Berlin, January '87. Interview with director of photography Henri Alican. Deleted scenes and outtakes, excerpts from films that are in programs that include him, and the aforementioned, you know, packet. So to close out, when the child was a child, berries filled its hand, and as only berries do, and it still is the same today. Fresh walnuts made its tongue raw, and they still do now. Atop every mountain, it longed for a higher mountain, and in every city, it longed for a larger city, and it still does. It reached up to the treetop for cherries, as excitedly as it still does today. It was shy around strangers, and it still is. It waited for the first snow, and it still waits that way. When the child was a child, it hurled a stick at a tree like a lance, and it still quivers there today. Spine number 490. Thank you for joining me. I'll catch you next time.